Je luistert naar een nieuwe aflevering van Over Eten, de podcast voor nieuwsgierige eters en drinkers. Mijn naam is Stijn de Schacht. Welkom bij een nieuwe aflevering van voor nieuwsgierige eters en drinkers. In 2015 zat ik met een hele catalogus aan Mexicaanse producten in een restaurantje in Antwerpen. Niet zomaar een restaurant, maar het restaurant van Miete en Willem in mijn pop-up restaurant. En toen ik daar mijn uitleg deed over de producten, dan kwam een jonge dame binnen met een doos vol tortillas. Tortillas, het basisvoedsel van de Mexicanen. En dat is waar ik Karla leerde kennen. Karla is de de founder van Tortilleria Taiyari in Nederland, net onder Amsterdam, als ik me niet vergis, Uithoorn. En zij was eigenlijk de eerste die in de Benelux tortillas maakte zoals het hoorde. Haar droom was om een taqueria te starten, maar een goede taqueria heeft goede tortillas nodig. En omdat ze die niet vond, is ze maar zelf aan de slag gegaan. Waarschijnlijk geen eenvoudig verhaal. Het is een heel oud proces wat al eeuwen, millennia gebruikt wordt in Centraal-Amerika. En zij bracht heel dat proces naar Nederland. Met succes, want ondertussen is ze de grootste tortilla-producent. Mexicaanse tortillas, moet ik wel zeggen. Geen bloemtortillas. Maar met traditionele processen. En elk jaar opnieuw wordt ze gevraagd door topchefs allerhande om haar tortillas aan te leveren. Allerlei taquerias in Benelux gebruiken haar producten. En ik denk dat ze ondertussen ook haar ogen gezet heeft op het buitenland. But maybe it's better if we let you do the talking about Tortilleria Taiyari instead of me. It is true we met in 2015,
yes.
And you were the first in the Benelux to really start producing tortillas the traditional way.
Yes.
The traditional way, that means from corn. But what is it that makes it traditional?
It's the process. It's a process. The process, well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. It was a really nice introduction. I think it's the process. We brought all the machinery. Unfortunately, we cannot find this type of machines here in Europe. So we brought all the line, from the cooking tanks to the molino. So we use the volcanic stones to grind the corn, the nixtamalized corn, and then we have also a tortilla oven. So just to make it from scratch, so cooking the corn in a lime solution, letting it rest, and then washing by hand until a month ago or something. We were washing by hand the corn and then grinding it in the molino with the volcanic stones. And then we put the corn in the mixer also with our hands, and then it gets mixed until it's homogeneous, and then we put it in the oven, and then we bake the tortillas right away, like in Mexico, like in any traditional tortilleria that you can find in the corner of a street.
Okay, so but before we get to this part where you start importing machines, there's probably a whole path that needs to be walked, because first of all, you're Mexican.
Yes.
How did you end up in Holland?
Well, that's
just a direct flight from Mexico City to Amsterdam, but that's probably not that simple.
Yeah, no, well, I came here 9 years ago. I started doing my master's degree first, and then
hopefully you're not in tortilla making, because I'm pretty sure that degrees in Mexico would be much better in that field.
No. I studied marketing in Mexico, and I did my bachelor's in that, and I wanted to do something with online marketing. And funny enough, I'm not the one doing that in the company. So after that, I did a master's here, an MBA, and then when I was finishing, I was looking for, before that, there was an idea of having a taqueria. And then while looking for the products, I couldn't find anything.
So basically the idea for the taqueria started when you were doing your studies?
No. That started back in Mexico.
Oh, you wanted to do a taqueria already in Mexico before you considered coming here?
No.
Oh, you gotta explain this to me. I'm a little confused on this one.
No. I had the idea when I was in Mexico, yes, about the taqueria. And then when I was here, I was looking for the products, and then there was no tortillas. So then I started looking for the tortillas in whole Europe, and I couldn't find it. I went back home, and I was talking actually with my family, and my mom said, why don't you, because I don't cook, right? So why don't you start first with the tortilleria, because I found one guy was doing tortillas in Oostenrijk, in Austria, and I actually called him because he studied in the same university as me. I called him and I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, you can only send tortillas if you buy like over 30 kilos." And back then the prices were expensive, and then I thought, okay, if I'm there with the taqueria and there's no tortillas, and we cannot sell tacos without tortillas, right? So yeah, so then she actually told me like, okay, why don't you start with that, and then you see if it goes good, then you can source your own restaurant, right, with the tortillas. So yeah, that's how it went, and yeah, after I was almost done with my masters. When I started importing the machines, and everything went from there. The machines were here all of a sudden. Like, yeah, I took a long time because when I came to the Netherlands, I also wanted to work here in a big company. And it was difficult for me because I didn't speak the language then. And I was just finishing the masters. And there was not so many opportunities, I would say, in the field that I was studying. So yeah, I did it next to it, and I think it was a good choice to start doing that. And then
the process itself is a labor intensive process. I mean,
It
I
is.
went to Mexico last year to work in a molino as well,
Yeah.
which is basically where they process the corn
Yeah.
to make tortillas.
Yeah.
It is a process that a lot of people in Mexico kind of know, but don't really know how to do it themselves. Where did you learn the
Yeah.
skills to make nixtamal? And let's explain what nixtamal is as well.
Yeah, that's really true, and it's also funny because we were talking about bringing machines, and so actually I knew very little too, and actually it went for me a little bit backwards, but I can come back to that a little bit later. So for me, in the beginning was I have to make a tortilla, right? And there's a tortilleria that's close by my house. I live in a small town, like close to Xochimilco, I always say, because everybody knows where Xochimilco is.
Most people know about Mexico kind of know
Yeah.
about Xochimilco. Xochimilco is in the south of Mexico City.
Yeah, very south.
It's the remains of a big lake,
Yeah.
Texcoco,
Yeah.
that is used as gardening. Well, there's small islands basically that are used
Chinampas.
for gardening.
Yes.
And if you've never been and you sail, it kind of looks like Holland sometimes.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there's water. There's islands.
there's boats, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of Holland sometimes,
Yeah.
especially like early in the morning when it's still cold. And
Yeah,
there's fog
yeah,
over
yeah.
the Chinampas.
That's really
It's
pretty.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gorgeous.
really pretty.
And there's a cow walking up to you and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, yes. You can eat really good there. It's a market where everybody is screaming at you, güero or güera, even if you are not güero or güera. So that's pretty,
What's
that's
güero,
pretty
güera?
funny. It's a blondie, like a blonde girl or a blonde guy, but they screamed that to me too. So, so it's just a funny market where they sell carnitas, barbacoa, and all those type of things. Well, I live somewhere there, and in that small places where you can find a lot of traditional things still. So there, I think I'm really lucky. I found out later I was really lucky because they still do the nixtamalization process. There are still molinos that actually do all the masa for all the town or neighborhoods. They do the masa for other tortillerias because industrialization has caused that the process actually get almost erased in the big city, especially in the posh neighborhoods or in the most how you call it, popular neighborhoods. You don't see nixtamalization so much anymore. Well, now it's coming back. Now you see a lot of tortillerias that are trying to bring back the process and also to protect the seeds, the Mexican seeds. So,
because like, as far as I know, in the 60s, 70s, companies that were producing corn flour got subsidies.
yes,
And that made it cheaper for tortillerias to produce tortillas.
yes,
But it also kind of erased the tradition of making nixtamal.
yes, because it was cheaper to buy corn flour, was cheaper. They get the subsidy to get the machinery. So, but you got to sign to use their product for a certain amount of years, and that caused that the process of nixtamalization disappeared almost in the Mexico City. In some cities, you cannot find it anymore. Like I said, it's coming back now, but I've been in business for 7 years, and when I started, I've always lived with it because I live in a really small part of Mexico City, with countryside, and so I didn't notice. But if you go, for example, to the big mall, supermarkets, people was buying tortillas in Walmart or in Comercial Mexicana, which are really big malls. It was only made from corn flour.
But even if you go to like mercados all over the country, you can sometimes see molinos, but in certain they have big bags of flour, and in the others they still have corn.
They mix it actually. They mix it a little bit. They use the nixtamalized masa, but they also mix it with the flour. So some people do only flour, but some people mix it a bit, because unfortunately we do use a lot of additives in Mexico to make like the tortilla be almost perfect. You would see also in the molino where I learned how to make tortillas, they also use a lot of additives, like to make them whiter, to make them softer, to make them fluffier. They use this type of things to make like
also
a tortilla.
To preserve them.
Yes.
I know that some of the corn flour producers, they add folic acid and some other somewhat precursors to vitamins in a way to make it healthier. But it's weird that something that has been healthy for thousands of years needs something added to make it healthier. So that means something is lost in that flour making process.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I don't know for sure, but there was study, like a research made. They were using a lot of GMO corn, of course, and they were using a lot of additives that were not really put on the package, conservatives, everything. So it was really not a healthy product. And when people started to make noise about it, I think they tried to cover it by saying, okay, now this has vitamins, like any other product in the market, actually. But yeah, what we do is only corn water and lime solution. And what you cause with the lime solution on the corn is exactly that is going to bring up all the proteins and all the benefits from the corn. You're going to have more calcium in it. You're going to have all the antioxidants, for example, from the blue corn. And it is already a healthy seed by itself.
Because if I'm not mistaken, you're using Mexican corn right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, so you're importing the corn.
Yes.
It's hard to imagine that corn would be fresh. I mean, you've brought some here. People that are watching the podcast can see there's a couple of jars with corn on my table. But these are not fresh.
No, certainly not. These ones I use for the expos. Maybe they've been for more than a year.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're dried corn, and is that the basic product that you're using? It's not like the yellow corn that we have in the supermarkets here. It has a very
it's not
different
sweet
look.
Corn. No.
So there's different types of corn to begin with.
Yes, definitely. In Mexico, there's, I think, over hundreds of races of corn. It depends on the altitude. It depends on where are they harvested, next to the coast or in the volcano or in the valley, and gives also different, because we have also, how you call it? We have domesticated the corn, so it becomes edible.
Because corn is a plant that a lot of people also don't know.
Yeah.
Without human interaction,
Yes.
there would be no corn.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, then you have the teosinte, which is a really small, almost a stone seed.
Yeah, it looks kind of grassy. Teosinte is like the blueprint for what
predecessor.
corn became,
Yes.
the predecessor, exactly.
Yes.
And only because of selection, human
Yes.
selection, it developed into corn.
And crossing.
And that's why you have so many different species
Yes.
of corn all over Mexico. But
Yes.
to make masa, which is the word for dough,
Yes.
to make nixtamal, you have to start with corn.
Yes.
So the plant is growing. It's
Yes.
the end of the summer.
Yes.
The corn is on the cob. That's when you cut it, and then what happens?
And-
or do you let it dry on the plant? Because these are dry.
No, you let it dry on the coals itself, and then you have to take all the grains out. And in the past, they just do it with rubbing the coals with each other. And nowadays, you have like big machinery or other types of instruments to take the corn out. But it's already dry. And once it's dry, then it's hard, like a I don't know, like a bean, and then you can do the nixtamalization process.
But that also means that if you need tortillas today,
Yes.
and you need them next week, and you need them the week after, you can kind of preserve your corn until you need it, right? Because if it's
You mean the
fresh,
seed?
yeah, if it's fresh, like we get in the supermarket, next week it's going to be dead, and the week after it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, no, it needs to be dry. No, it needs to definitely be dry. We also eat it from the coal fresh. We have a lot of esquites and we do other many things with it. But no, this one is dried. This one has another process. You have to dry it, and then you have to take the grains out of the coal, and then it's hard like a bean, and then you can do nixtamalization. You cannot do nixtamalization with a really fresh one with the grains soft, so to say. Yes.
Okay, so then you have the corn, you put it in
Yes.
water, and done.
No. You have the corn, you put it in your lime solution, and then you cook it, and then you let it rest.
The lime solution is calcium
Is-
hydroxide,
yes,
basically.
yes.
Sometimes in a more refined form than others.
Yes, true.
What I learned in Mexico is that there's different types of cal, as
Yeah.
they call it.
Yeah.
You have cal vivo,
Calviva,
and
yeah.
then which is really weird.
Yeah, it's a stone.
Yeah,
and
but it-
reacts on its own. It's alive.
Because you put it in water.
That's
and
why they
then
call it.
It's
Yeah.
really weird because it starts bubbling.
Yeah.
Nothing that you changed or anything. You just put it in water and it starts to
Like melting. Like,
exactly
yeah,
melting, but in a
has
violent way.
Yeah, it has a chemical reaction in it when you throw the water in. And then it sort of warms up and melts, and then you can use it. But that comes from the mountains in Mexico. We don't have that type of cal here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, because I remember sending you a text message when I was in Mexico in the Molino, and I was super surprised. I was like, "Do you have this here?"
No, we don't have it in Europe, I think.
And so, do you have to find a different solution, or how does that work?
Yes, we have the synthetic one, which is calcium hydroxide for food. Is food grade calcium hydroxide. You can find it actually anywhere, because you can nixtamalize a lot of things, not only corn. So some people who knows about nixtamalization, they use it for other types of things, fruits or other vegetables. So you can find it for cooking, and that's the cal that we use here.
Yeah. So you put the corn with the cal in water,
Yes.
and then you wait.
Yes, well, we do a solution with cal, and then we throw the corn in. And you can do it in many ways. You can do it whatever, and you just have to make sure that you have the right amount of cal with the right amount of corn and the temperature. And you need to know when the corn is ready, so you can let it rest, because it can overcook or it can undercook, and then it's gonna really mess up your grinding. And that's also a difficult part of nixtamalization.
And also, if you use too much cal, you change the color of your corn as well.
Yes, which some people like to do that, for example, with the white corn. The white corn, people can like to make it yellow, so they use more cal in it. But if you have a blue tortilla, or like you saw, it was pink, right? If you have a pink tortilla and you put too much, then it's just gonna mess up with the color. So you really need to think and to do your tests and
So
what is best for
blue
your
corn
corn.
becomes kind of greenish in
Greenish,
color.
yes.
And it's super weird to see.
Yes, because tortillas in Mexico City, we call them blue corn, but actually they are green. And they are green because people use the masa, the dough, over the days. They don't sell it all, and they put coal because it also takes out the odors and it keeps it good for longer. So that's why, and when you mix it for a long time, it's gonna be greenish too. So that's why the blue tortillas there are green.
Interesting.
But it should be blue.
So,
It
but
should be-
as
they call it black.
people
Actually.
that can see, you have three colors of corn on the table.
Yes.
You've got white, you've got yellow, you've got blue. These are, I think, the most common
Yes.
color varieties.
Yes.
But there's also a bunch of other types of corn, right?
Yes, you have a lot of pinks. Like you can go from red to pink to purple. The only problem is that if you see, for example, like a red seed, and then you think, oh, I'm gonna get the same red tortillas. It's not like that. Then you nixtamalize it, and then you get something we call it dinosaur color. It's some greenish, grayish, and it's not really appealing for people. They were already in the beginning saying that the blue ones were molded. So I think if we give those ones, it will take a long time for them to realize they are not molded. It's just the color that you get after nixtamalizing the corn.
So can you make corn? Can you make nixtamal from any type of corn, or are there specific requirements to make tortillas? Like if I would go to the supermarket and get some popcorn,
Yes.
technically speaking, that's dry.
Yes.
So I should be able to make tortillas.
Actually, you are.
Really?
Yes.
Have you tried that?
Yes.
How does it turn out?
It turned out really good. And it's going to be expensive tortilla because popcorn is really expensive. But it's possible.
Okay.
It is possible. Yes.
So technically speaking, anyone can just go to the supermarket and start a tortilleria with popcorn.
Yes. Yes.
All right, that's really interesting.
Yes, it is, because we have our organic line is made with Dutch corn. We also try to do something locally, and also because the certification in Mexico is difficult to get for the people, for the farmers, because they are really small farmers and they don't have the money to do the certification, and it takes super long for them to do it. And also to keep on, they might get it, but every year has to do the same. So I don't think they are really able to do that. So we chose for our organic line to use local corn from Holland. And it's also a different type of corn, but still we can make really nice tortillas from it.
Okay. Didn't you use Italian corn as well in the past?
The first batch that we got, it was Italian.
Okay.
But then later was Dutch.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. I thought you guys were using
from
Italian
Chickenland,
corn. Okay.
Barneveld.
So you actually know not just where your corn is grown in Mexico, but also here in Holland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And we are trying to consume also local products. Now with all the sustainability issues that there are, and also in the pandemic with all the prices that went up, there was no containers, it was crazy. The prices were crazy, really. So we decided that for our line and for the people that wanted to have yellow corn, which is the corn that we sell the most, we could use local products because price-wise is almost the same. And we found some Dutch farmers. There's also it happened something similar than in Mexico. They use a lot of biocorn to make food for animals. So, but the corn is just good also for human consumption. Only people don't know what to do with it. Only people don't know that you can do other products, and probably they don't know that nixtamalization is gonna make that corn even more beneficial for more healthy and beneficial for humans. They just think, okay, then we just give it to the chickens and to the cows because it's just corn, but it's not like that. So we also are trying to help also because we think that corn is a really healthy product. And we can contribute a little bit also to stop eating that much of meat and show, okay, this corn can also be for humans, and these are the benefits. And we are working with some Dutch farmers to try to educate them. And
So I think you've been to Mexico a couple of times where you did a road trip visiting farmers
Yes.
and producers.
Yes.
They were probably teaching you about corn,
yes.
but here in Holland it has to be the other way around, no?
Yes, yes. Not only with corn, it's various seeds. For example, tarwe also that they use for feeding the animals. Because
Yeah, but I mean, are you you're teaching the farmers here in Holland that it can be used for
Yes.
different things than just cattle?
Exactly.
Whereas in Mexico, people are training you.
Yes.
Isn't it
Yes.
funny how things change
Yes,
depending
yes.
on your location?
Yes, definitely. And it's really funny that for me in the beginning, like I said, in the beginning was only to make a tortilla, and then it went deeper than that. And then it was what's behind actually the tortilla is not only a tortilla to make a taco, what is behind it. And then we start all this movement about the native seeds and the corn and the process start picking up or gaining momentum in Mexico. And then for me it was
where you
like,
have restaurants like Chocol in Guadalajara
Yes.
that have T-shirts that say "Mais criollo is the shit."
yes, exactly. You have one?
No, actually, I don't.
Oh,
I should talk to
no.
Oscar.
Yes, actually, they should send us for two.
Exactly, I will. But
Yes.
it actually makes sense that people
Yes.
are preserving their traditions, but also the products.
Yes.
Because they're very intertwined in
Yes.
a way.
Yes, definitely.
People were growing and eating what was locally available.
Exactly.
And so those traditions are preserved if you keep the products going. If there's no product, then there's no more tradition.
Exactly.
And it is a movement that has been gaining momentum,
Yes.
I would say, for the past 10 years.
Yes.
Where people realize that, culture is much more than books and music and theater. It's
Yes.
also about the things we do on a daily basis. We eat, we
Yes.
drink, we consume, we grow.
Exactly. And
But let us get back to the nixtamal process.
Yes.
We have the corn, you have the lime solution, you start cooking. You start cooking until a certain point,
Yes.
when it's ready. And then you said you have to let it rest.
yes.
So you just turn off the heat and you
Yes.
walk away.
Yes. And then you let it rest, and it's gonna soak up all the water. It's gonna make the skin come off, and then it's gonna absorb all this. It's gonna have the chemical reaction where all the proteins and everything goes in the corn, and then the next day you will wash it. Then you have the nejayote. Nejayote is the water that it's a little bit of a mix from the skin and the caul and everything that happens in there in during the night. You have to wash it off, and then you wash off actually all the calcium hydroxide, and only really really little stays in the corn, and then you grind it.
So basically what happens at that part is that protein chains and vitamins become available for human
Antioxidants.
consumption.
Yes.
And then you
Makes
have,
it digestible also
Exactly.
for your stomach. Yes.
because everybody's had it when they were too quick to eat their corn.
Yes.
It came out the same way.
yes. 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 True.
But yeah, so the skin comes off.
Yes.
The corn is digestible.
Yes.
And then you can do several things because, for example, pozole is a very famous Mexican dish, and
Yes.
that's with corn that has
Yes.
been nixtamalized, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you can nixtamalize it, and it has also another process. I think they put it in salt, if I'm correct. I don't know about
And it's
the
also a
process,
different type of corn that they're using, if I'm not mistaken. They're using
yes,
these
it's
really big corn
the cacao
kernels.
simple. Yes, yes. It's a little bit of a different process, and then you have to let it cook until it pops, actually like a popcorn, but then in water, and then you can do the pozole from it.
Yeah, but it's the same idea basically.
It is the
with,
same idea.
with water, cal,
Yes.
and corn, and then it just takes time.
Yes.
But so there's differences here and there. The cooking process as well changes depending on where you are.
Yes.
I remember that in, for example, the Yucatan Peninsula,
Yeah.
which is in the southeast of Mexico. It was a very different process. What I saw there, as I compare to Guadalajara, where I did my internship. But the main idea is the same. So then you have the corn that's been cooked.
Yes.
what do? You wash it off.
You wash it off.
And then?
You wash the nejayote off, and then you put it actually straight in the molino. For us, because we have really big quantities, you have to let it leak a little bit, so you don't have really like watery masa. But otherwise, you can just put it in. I don't know if you have one from that you can attach to the table. You can just put it directly, or you can put it in the metate. That's what the women do in the.
And what is a metate?
It's like a volcanic stone. It's flat, and then you have also volcanic stone roll, and then you just have to.
You really have to squish it.
Squish it, yeah, until you get masa from it.
So it's the grinder before there was a motorized molino.
Exactly. It's the same stone. It's the same volcanic stone. It's a little bit. It has a little bit of holes. It's porous, and then
It takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. I want to say, well, good luck with that one.
I made some salsas on one.
Yes.
It's delicious.
Yes.
It's very delicious, but it's very labor intensive as well.
It is.
But that was the way it was done in pre-Columbian times, if I'm not mistaken. Before the conquest of Mexico, even after the conquest of Mexico, people were still doing it because there were no machines like we have today.
No, exactly.
So you're very lucky that you have it. You have machines available.
Yes, I think so, and it's still labor intense. So I can imagine that doing it all the way with the hand is even more intense. Also, to just press the tortilla. There was no presser even. There was no tortilla press before, and they just did it with their hands, torteadas. I don't know how people do that.
You don't know how to do it?
No, not really.
Okay, because also the way of making tortillas is also very different in different parts of Mexico.
Yes.
You just said the clapping. It's something that you have in a large part of Mexico. But then, for example, what they do in Yucatan is they press it down and they turn it on the table.
Yeah.
It's super weird because I don't get it. It kind of works when I clap my tortillas, but it doesn't work when I press it down. So I can't wrap my head around it.
No, I think
but
it's all about practice. I think
exactly, and it's their traditional way of making it. But for the most part, you have tortilla presses, which is basically two pieces of metal with a hinge that press down on the masa, and then you have a tortilla. Easy.
Metal. Don't put it. It's not a pan. Please don't put it in the fire.
And this you have to explain, and I'm gonna link it in the show notes. But why are you saying this?
Because I've seen it. There was this video on YouTube, right, from a person that put it on the fire.
It was an Argentinian TV chef, and she had a tortilla press, a metal tortilla press. What you usually do to press tortillas is you take some plastic or some cut out grease paper, and then you press the tortilla in between that because it comes off easily.
Yes.
This Argentinian chef decided that she didn't need that. What she did was she sprayed some she sprayed some cooking spray onto the tortilla press, then pressed the dough, and then put the whole thing on the fire.
Yes.
That is not how it's used in Mexico.
No.
At all.
But I don't know.
Or anywhere else in the world, to be honest.
But I heard it also somewhere. I don't remember. But somebody said, "Oh, it's like a pan," and I was like, "No, please don't put it on the fire. It's not a pan. It's just to press your tortillas."
Exactly.
So it can be confusing.
You press the tortilla, you take it out, and then you put it on a pan.
Yes, exactly.
Except that in your tortilleria, that part of pressing and cooking is done with a machine.
What do you mean with cooking?
Well, I mean, are you putting every tortilla by hand on a pan?
On a pan? No. It's done by the oven.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
We have like a rolls oven, and then we have some cutters, and then it makes the shape of the tortilla that you want and the size that you like, and then it comes out. And then it goes in like this three-step oven, like the ones in Mexico.
Yeah. So what happens is that instead of having an army of people pressing tortillas, you have a machine that cuts out the right shape. It's again, to me, it looks similar to a pasta machine, except that you cut shapes.
Yes. 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 It's just 2 rolls, and then you put the masa on top, and then the masa goes squeezed in it, and under you have the form, the cutter, and then it just comes out like in rolls or whatever shape you want. We only have like round shape. We don't do because we had oval shape before. We did for flautas and guaraches. But we have so much to do. We cannot do those types anymore because they don't sell a lot. But we have like small ones, like 9 centimeters, 12 centimeters, 14, 21, and then you get out those shapes.
Because for you, obviously, tortillas are the core business.
Yes.
But in Mexico, once you have masa,
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff that happens with it, right?
Yes.
Do you want to start giving a list?
Okay. Yeah. No, you have a lot. You have the quesadilla form. You have the flauta form, and quesadilla is more or less the same because it's like an oval, and then either you roll it or you just fold it. And you have sopes. So sopes and gorditas are a little bit thicker tortillas, and the sopes you have to pinch it on the sides, and then you can put things over it.
So it kind of becomes like a little bowl almost.
Yeah,
with the sides standing up, so you can fill it with some like beans or something.
Exactly. So if you put beans, it won't come out. And the gordita is like a pita bread. You have to open it and put things inside. What else do you have? Tacos dorados. From the masa, you can also make drinks. You make atole. You can make like some boliches and put it in a soup. You can make so many things with it. I don't know.
You know, there's bocoles that you can make.
Exactly.
There's,
tamales, of course. You can make tamales from it. It's just a little sort of cake that is filled with savory stuff, also sweet stuff, actually.
Yeah, because you have tamales dulces, which is literally sweet tamales.
Yes, but you have so many types of tamales also. You have like oaxaqueños. It depends on the region also. You have it even with, in Veracruz, they make tamales with shrimps that are really spicy, really nice.
In Oaxaca, they make them with a type of mussel.
Yeah.
But then, for example, in Yucatan, they make tamales that they put in an oven underground.
Yes.
Whereas in a big part of Mexico, tamales are steamed, right?
Yes. Normally they are steamed. Yeah.
So let's say that I want to make tamales. You have masa.
Yes.
Can I just call you and say, hey, I want to make tamales? Can I get some masa?
Yes, you can do it with our masa.
Because that's not really the core business, obviously.
No.
Most of it is tortillas.
Yes.
But if I wanted to, I could.
Yes, but it depends. You have tamales from different type of masa also. You have one that is really, it has is broccoli, how you say that?
Coarse.
Yeah.
Very coarsely ground.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you make zacahuil with that. These are really like a really big cake. You just put it in a banana leaf also, and then with a lot of meat in it. But then it needs to be a little bit like that. But you can also have tamales with the masa that we actually grind at Taiyari. But you have to prepare it a little bit. Sometimes they put a little bit of baking soda to make it a little bit more fluffy. But yeah, you can use different.
They also put lard in it.
Yes, you have to put. So if you want it,
there's a lot of work to be done before you can actually make a tamale. It's not just putting the masa into into how would I say this, a leaf?
Yes,
it could be
yes,
corn
like
leaf,
corn
could be
leaf,
a banana
leaf. Yeah.
Doesn't matter, but there is some work to be done. But if people wanted to, they could just give you a call, go like, hey, I need some masa, can you help me?
Yes. We have it on our web shop anyways. The masa, it's already there, available in the 3 colors, so you can try. But you may have to do a lot of how do you say, mixing. You have to mix with your hand until you have to. If you put already the larvae in it, it can be vegetarian or it can be from pork, whatever you prefer. But you have to mix it so much until you have like a glass of water, and you're gonna throw like a little piece in it, and if it floats, then it's okay.
It needs to be fluffy as well when you beat it, when you beat the lard into it. But it does take work, but it's just to show that
it takes a lot of work.
You know, from the masa that you make, there's so much that you can do.
A lot.
There's, we didn't even mention tlacoyos and so many other things.
Yes.
Because the list
Guaraches.
is really, really long what you can do with masa. It really became the staple of what is known as Mexican cuisine.
Exactly. We are not only tacos.
Exactly. If I remember, I heard somebody say that tacos were on the way we know it as a street food were
Yes.
only possible because of industrial revolutions.
Yes.
Because they had machines to make it available. They had transportation to make it available quickly. They had refrigeration to make things available. And that's all what led to the fact that tacos became a street food. And then some economic crises where people were like, well, I don't have a job, but I can make food. Let's sell food.
Yes, like
So,
in the pandemic.
Exactly. So these are kind of the reasons why Mexican street food became a thing, and now it's super known around the world. It's super popular,
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure that you can feel that increase in interest as well.
Yes. When we started, people didn't even know what mole was when we started. We had to explain a lot, and it was really, for people, was difficult to accept, like the taste and the spiciness, and why does it have chocolate in it, and bread, or banana, were you talking about? It was difficult, but right now a lot of people ask for that.
Even with tortillas, I had the feeling 10 years ago that it took so long to explain
Yes,
why a corn
still.
tortilla was so different in flavor.
Still,
Because
yes, and
we
also
knew,
why
we
we
knew
don't
the flour
sell
tortillas.
Yes.
We understood what a flour tortilla was because of the
Yes.
Tex-Mex influence of the 90s.
Yes.
But corn? Then you go to the supermarket and you see, oh, here's corn tortillas, and it's completely different product from what you're selling.
Yes, if you have the taco shells, it took also a long time for us to explain some chefs. No, we don't do taco shells, and say, yeah, but you can fry it on the same shape. I say, no, that's not how we eat it. It's just like a soft taco. It's not that. If you want, you can eat a tostada, which is something else that we have. It's the fried version of the tortilla, and then you can put things on top. But we are not going to do taco shells. That's Tex-Mex. It exists in where they eat it, and it's fine. But it's not what we are going to sell.
Exactly, and I'm also, let's be honest, are you going to be able to outcompete the big companies that produce those here in Europe?
No.
There you go.
No.
So,
No.
yeah, don't
But
even
I
try.
think we are But I think we are still in the education process, because once you explain, actually, we do have something fried, but it's called tostada, and you can use it like this or like that. They get really interested. Which is not so good for us because we need to scale up the line. And it's becoming very popular because people really like it. It's a nice bite, it's crunchy, it is nice. But they accept it also really good. They just don't know. They just don't know how to use the process. Sorry, how to use the tortilla, so the product. So we have to really teach them still how to warm up a tortilla. If you leave it too long in the pan, it's gonna be dried, and it's gonna be almost a tostada. Yes, it gets hard. Yes, you have to eat it right away, because if you leave it laid down there, it's gonna be really hard. But we don't use any preservatives or conservatives or anything like they do in Mexico. So it's corn water, and that's it, and the lime solution, and that's it. So if you don't eat it quick, it's gonna be hard. Yes.
So let's get into that. I bought my tortillas from you.
Yeah.
They've come in this nicely sealed package.
Yes.
I cut it open, and
Yes.
then what? What's the best way to go about?
Well, you have to separate them a little bit, and you have to wet them, because they've already lost some water when we bake them, and when we vacuum seal it, then it's gonna lose a little bit more of the fluffiness and the air actually in it.
Yeah, because
So-
nothing beats a tortilla that's,
right out of the
what
oven.
is great, right, about tortillas? If you do it yourself and you
Yes.
do it right, then they puff, they
Yes.
separate.
Yes.
The center, almost like pita bread as well.
Yes.
It just puffs up. And right when it comes out of the oven or from the pan, after it's puffed and you roll it, a little
Yes.
bit of salt, it's just so
Yes.
good.
It's the best. Yes.
It's so good. Unfortunately, of course, just like bread, like a regular bread that comes out of the oven,
Yes.
where the crust is still like nice and crunchy,
Yes.
the inside is fluffy and soft
Yes.
and a little bit warm. The butter melts when you put it on there.
Yes.
That's the perfect moment to eat it.
Exactly.
unfortunately, sometimes we have to get to the bakery at 4 in the afternoon. And
Yes.
the bread's been out all day.
Yes.
It's the same thing with tortillas.
Yes,
Sometimes, you
exactly.
cannot have it straight after it's been baked. So that's the reality of it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't get what we want all the time.
No.
But that's when you have to reheat it.
Yes.
Wetting it, does that mean I dunk it in
water,
or I
yes.
just spray some water on it? What do you recommend?
I do both. I just go to the, to the kraan.
Tap, yeah.
To the tap. I just go to the tap and I just put some water over there. It's okay. So you can spray it. You can put water over there. You can just put it inside like a topper with water. Also, if you are doing a lot, why we pack them like that? Because we mostly sell to restaurants, and restaurants need to have the tortillas or keep them for a little bit longer. By a little bit longer, I mean 1 week, because we produce fresh weekly. I don't have many clients that don't finish their tortillas in a week, maybe 2 weeks, and that's it. So yeah, but if you put them out and you wet them and you put them in the pan, then you have to wait until it gets a little bit elastic, and then that's the moment where you have to put the stuff in it.
So I put them in the pan and then I turn on the stove.
Yes. No, you turn on the stove. You leave the pan warm up a bit, maybe 180. No more than 180, and then you put the tortilla, you wait a little bit in one side, then you flip it, wait a little bit on the other side. Sometimes they are going to pop again on the plancha, sometimes not. And when they get elastic, and you have to be careful that all the edges are also warm, because sometimes it gets warm in the middle, but the edges they are not warmed up. And the tortilla, when it's cold, is a little bit like powdery, and it tastes a little bit weird. So it really needs to be, everything needs to be soft and elastic, and then you can put the food in it. You have to be careful with the sides. Tortilla has 2 sides. There is one side that's gonna be thinner, and the other side is thicker, so it's the one that holds the food in it. Normally, if you do it the other way around, it can break from under. So you put it in the right side, and then you feel it, you eat it.
So how do you know what side is the thick side, what side is the thin side? Because I think a lot of these things which you're telling me, they make sense to me. And I mean, I've been really deep diving in Mexican food for more than a decade. I went to restaurants in Mexico to work and to study and to learn. To me, it's normal.
Yes.
I think any Mexican person that I speak to, they're like, yeah, there's 2 sides to a tortilla.
I don't think all the people knows, by the way.
But then, somebody here who's never seen a tortilla or who may be a little bit afraid of tortillas, these are things that make sense.
Yes,
but
especially
they need to be told.
Yes, I don't. Especially for the people that works on the restaurants, I think, because if you are at home and the tortilla breaks, okay, it's not really bad. You made the food yourself, But when you go somewhere else, then you can get a little bit disappointed if your taco falls down. But it's the part that is going to rise up. And you can see it, sometimes there are bubbles, or sometimes you can see it just is thinner. One side is thinner than the other. And then the thinner side goes up. So the thicker side can hold the food. That's how you recognize it. But don't worry if you don't recognize it at first. It doesn't really matter. We always pile the tortillas facing up, and then we put our sticker there. So more or less they know they put them out like that, and they use them the same way.
So that's already a little help for everyone that's afraid of of trying corn tortillas.
Yes.
But you have different sizes. Why do you have different sizes available?
Well, in Mexico, you use different sizes for different types of things. Normally, at home, we always use what you call the mesa, because you go on your table. Mesa is a table, and we use the bigger one to eat with the family or whatever. That is like the 14 centimeters. And then you have the taquera. So all the taco places use a smaller version of the tortilla, because you eat a lot of tacos, right? So you can get a lot, but a little bit smaller. We have 2 sizes. One that is super small is 9 centimeters. It's almost like 2 bites. And the 12 centimeters is proper 3 bites, I think. And those are the most known in Mexico City for tacos al pastor or bistec and all the taquerias. You can find the really small ones too. Not so often, but I've seen them too. And then you can eat from those maybe like 15 tacos at once because they are really, really small.
And it's easy to sample the whole menu that way as well.
and at home, you use it as bread. It's something to eat together with your food.
Yeah, because that's also a thing. Like, people know about tacos by now. Most people have heard about tacos, have seen the Netflix show about tacos.
Yes.
But obviously, there's much more than tacos in Mexico. Not everybody at home makes tacos.
No.
So it's almost like you would have the meal and then there's a tortilla warmer there with tortillas that you can use sometimes as a spoon or to dip and really to finish all the sauce that's in your plate, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we just use it really as bread. And at home, you eat really different and at the street. I mean, I don't have my mom making tacos al pastor every day. I don't think she knows how to do that, actually. But you have other type of food. Normally, we use a lot of sauces, like chicken in green sauce, we eat a lot of chicken. Chicken in red sauce, all types of chicken in chicken in mole, yes. And or beef or veggie, and then you use the tortilla just to accompany your food. And that's what we've been doing like for ages, and you can eat so much of the tortillas at once when you are eating at home.
Yeah, but also what to me is a typical home dish would be, for example, enchiladas or frijoladas and moladas, which is a variation of the same thing, really. But the tortilla is a big part of that recipe.
Yeah, normally, yes,
I mean,
that's
it's
true.
Impossible to make an enchilada without a tortilla.
Yeah, that's true. But for example, in the mornings, we eat eggs, like scrambled eggs, whatever type of egg, and there's always a tortilla too. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you eat, actually. There's always tortillas on the table every day. In the morning, in the afternoon, every day, and all the time, I think.
I would say, I would go even further. There's always tortillas or a variation of tortillas, because there's also a little bag here on the table.
Yes.
These are called totopos.
Yes.
Many people here would know them as tortilla chips.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Why did you start making these?
Well, when we have a little bit of the tortillas that were not really suitable for the taco, that's what we do.
Misshapen, a little bit not fully cooked or something.
Exactly. What we do in Mexico is that we cut it in triangles and then we make chilaquiles from it. So we did the same, but then
what's chilaquiles? Because I just call this totopos.
Totopos, yes. Totopos is a tortilla,
which is basically the tortilla that's been fried. What is chilaquiles then? Because not everybody's gonna know the difference.
Chilaquiles is the dish you make with totopos, and normally they are made with green sauce or red sauce with a topping. It can be an egg, or it can be chicken, or it can be with beef, whatever. And it's really soaked in sauce, in any type of sauce, actually. Those are chilaquiles, and that's what we normally did. I remember my grandmother drying the totopos in the roof for next day. So all the tortillas that were not eaten were cut and just put it to dry in the sun, and then next day we could eat it as chilaquiles. So that's how I started with the totopos, but they became so popular because people was thinking like, wow, this really tastes different than the tortilla chip that we know. Yeah, this is the real deal.
So now you have a line dedicated to totopos, and instead of using all the wrong tortillas, you also have to use good tortillas.
Yes. Now we also have to use the good tortillas. Yes, it's a small line now. We're still frying by hand, but we are trying to connect our new machines, because we have a line that's going to do tostadas and totopos, but it's not there yet.
Okay, because I saw this week on Instagram that you have new machinery come in.
Yes.
A stapler.
Yes.
A stacker, for example.
Yes. Forklift.
Yeah, exactly. And then some other stuff is coming in. So that means there's a lot of growth happening right now.
Yes. It's going really fast. I think we were dragged down a little bit by the pandemic, but before the pandemic, I could see we were only growing every year, especially because of this momentum, I think, in Mexico of taking care of the seeds, of bringing back the process, and all these programs actually in Netflix and all these things happening. People know about that, and it's been good. Only pandemic was hard. I think it hit us hard. Everybody was in it. So, but now this year, I think it's gonna be very good. I can see it already that we are hitting our highest point already in the how you call it, in the spring. What we normally had in the summer. So it's growing fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome. It is really challenging.
Because you also moved to a bigger facility.
Yes, we did. Last August.
Yeah.
Last August, we moved to a bigger facility. It's getting a little bit small already. So,
oops.
yes. Maybe a little bit of miscalculation. It's been difficult to really forecast the growth, you know, especially because restaurants were really bad hit. In the pandemic, it was just going like a roller coaster. Now we sell, now we don't sell. Now people had this idea, and it was just difficult. And also after the pandemic, to know where do we stand? Is
Are
it
we
going
to have another lockdown?
Yeah, exactly. Or is it people going to do tacos still, or is it going to be something else? But I can see the trend, and the trend from Mexican food is only starting, is growing a lot. So there's space and room for everybody to start doing something with a Mexican twist, actually.
Yeah, I like that you say with a Mexican twist, because I feel like obviously a lot of people just throw some things together and call it Mexican.
Yes.
But it's not Mexican.
No,
it's just
exactly.
it's a Mexican twist.
Yes.
But you also have a great idea of what is happening in Belgium and in Holland.
Yes.
What's some of the best places, according to you, to go find authentic, traditional Mexican dishes?
In Holland?
Or Belgium?
In Belgium. In Holland, we do have Kova and Bacalar. I think you've been there. And here, I would say Blanco from David. He's gone to Mexico a couple of times, and I think his food is really close to traditional with a French twist, of course. But I think he does a really good job. But you also have Loco Mexicano, you have Alma Libre. I would say they are really close to the authentic Mexican. But you have also a bunch others in Belgium. We have now one called Hacienda. I don't know if you've been.
No, I've not.
Well, they sell a lot. They sell a lot of tacos too. And you have one, I forgot the name of these guys. And he's Mexican too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you have a lot of customers, it's hard to remember everyone, of course.
Yes. What is his name? It will come back. But you have that one is also really, and it's a little bit more to the high end, the high end food, and the place is amazing. The place is super nice. So yeah, you should go there. They are in Kortrijk.
Okay.
Is it Choco?
Choclo.
Yep. Yes, Choclo.
Yes,
they are really good.
Yes, they've
been. Yeah.
Yes,
they've been to the factory, and they were super excited. Of course, it's always really nice to see Mexican guy being so excited of seeing tortillas again.
But does that mean that you're inviting your customers to come visit the facility?
Normally, we don't do that.
Okay.
They ask for it. And we are really transparent. They can come, not in the summer because it's really, really busy. We don't have time for the people. We prefer not to do it. But yeah, if they really, really want to see it, and they are welcome.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm going to.
If you're going to allow any more visits.
Be sorry now for what I'm saying, but no, people are super curious, and I understand. We have all this machinery there, and especially Mexicans. They really appreciate that we are there, that they can have their tortillas there, and that they can actually go there and maybe buy it from there. But it's very, very difficult for people to go there and ask for fresh tortillas. Not a lot of people does it. It will be really nice for us to sell it fresh from the day, but it doesn't happen that often. But there's a lot of people that is curious about the process, because it's a new process, and they see it on television now, and we talk about it on social media. So they are really, really interested, and yeah, they are welcome. If they want to come, they can come.
What I find to be the most difficult thing is finding the tortillas.
Yes.
Is that something you're working on?
Yes.
I mean, right now you have a web shop.
No, not
So
right now. We
it's-
have a new website too.
So there's that possibility.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But to me, there used to be a shop close by that sold Mexican products, and it was easy to be like, oh, I really feel like doing this tonight, and then go to the shop and get
Yeah.
whatever I needed.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the exception because I work a lot, and I don't really have time to plan out my food like other
Yes.
people sometimes do. And so I really go on a whim, and it's
Yes.
difficult for me to buy tortillas when I'm out on a whim.
Yes. Well, what we do is that we sell it through our web shop, and then you get it at your doorstep. So that would be for you the easiest, I think. We are working with small shops, but delicatessen shops in Antwerp. We don't have any other selling points yet. We would love to have small
in
selling
Holland,
points.
for example, you do have more and more showing up, I feel like.
Still not many shops, actually. People order a lot via the web shop.
Okay.
And they go to Chinstoco because it's the place to go for Mexican food in Amsterdam. They've been there for quite a while, and they do a lot of fresh products. We also have Westland Peppers that is selling with their fresh products. They're all their chilies and tomatoes and poblanos, everything. There is so fresh and nice, actually. But we don't have many others, actually, especially in Belgium. We don't have it. We have a Spiced is the name of the shop from Ton de Boek. He opened a delicatessen store, and they also have one in Inouë from Dennis. Scola, he's selling them too. But yeah, we haven't. Oh, and we sell them at Crisp now. Crisp Belgium also, but they only have the big the wrap, because that's what also people know how to make wraps with tortillas. But we don't have many others. And
So Crisp, for people that don't know, is an online supermarket
Yes.
that you can buy pretty much anything,
anything, yes.
including your tortillas.
Including my tortillas, yes. Go buy them there, please. No. And what else? We are not in the big supermarkets. I don't think that is our main goal at the moment, for many reasons. One of the reasons is because, of course, our capacity is not that big yet, and is limited, and we prefer to sell straight to our customers. And the other one, because I want to make sure that the quality stays always the same. And I right now have the feeling that if I have to deliver to one of these big monsters of supermarkets, then the quality needs to, well, I will, yeah, of course, take some of the quality. You start reducing your costs or to produce masal, and I don't think that's my main goal.
But you're growing, so that also means that you're no longer doing everything
Yes.
like in the beginning.
No.
Where do you find people that know how to do all this, or do you really have to train them?
To do the process, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I have to
Everything.
train them. Yes. I have to train them. But luckily, I'm good at that. So luckily, yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. Now, I really enjoy being in production. Actually, I always talk about that with my team, and sometimes it's a question like you should be doing something else, something you should add value in other parts of the company. But yeah, like you said, not all the people know how to make tortillas, and a lot of times I have to go there and make them with them. But I enjoy that part a lot
Yeah,
too.
so a lot of people do know how to do the online marketing.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I have somebody else.
Exactly. For that, I have Tanya, which is our guru in marketing. She is really good, and she's a really good colleague and partner for me, actually. She does all the operations and sales right now, marketing, sales. She does a lot. And I stayed in the part from the process and training the people and doing more the finance and the other part of the company. But I do enjoy making the tortillas, actually. I really enjoy it. I also do a lot of the fixing the machines, for example, because the people here couldn't help that much because they didn't know the machine, of course. So it was a lot of calling back and forth with Mexico, and by now I think I know more or less everything that can happen with that machine.
The only thing you're missing to be a certified technician is
Yes.
the certification.
Exactly. I think I should get that one too. Yes, because sometimes I get also queries from people in other countries having tortillerias. How do I do it if I know about the machine? Stuff like that. And I like to help. And yeah, I do it a lot of times. I've given some tips and so for other people. But I really enjoy that part of the company. I really do.
Nice.
Yes.
So what we didn't discuss yet is the name. It's not a very common name that you would find here.
No.
But it's also not something I would find a lot in Mexico. What does Taiyari signify?
Taiyari means our essence, our heart. And it was part of being the tortillas at that point, now the corn and everything, part of being the essence of the Mexican gastronomy and actually the essence of our culture.
Okay.
Of Mexico.
It doesn't sound very Spanish.
No, it's an indigenous name that comes from Huichol, from the Huijaricas.
Huijaricas. And that that is not where you live.
No. Because
So how do you make... For people that don't know, Mexico is a multi-ethnic, multicultural country.
Yes.
You have what we know as the Aztecs, which is the Mexica. You have the Mayas in the Yucatan Peninsula and south of that. But you also have Zapotecs, you have Huirarica, you have so many different peoples with different languages and cultures. Some of them haven't even been conquered, so to speak, until the 1800s.
Yes.
They were independent up until then, so they kept a lot of their culture, their gastronomy, and their language. And that's something a lot of people don't know.
No.
But for those who do know, they know that the Huirarica are far away from Mexico City.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering how you made that connection.
No, I studied there. I studied in Guadalajara.
Okay.
I did there,
That makes sense.
one semester. I really love the art, all the jewelry they make. And also it goes much deeper because they go from all the Bajío until San Luis Potosí. They have a lot of really nice traditions that's still there, actually.
And now that also makes sense to me why you would use that logo. Your logo is the square with the many colors, which is also part of the Huirarica Huichol art.
Yes.
And that makes sense to me now.
Yeah, it is Ojo de Dios. That's how it's called. And it's used as an amulet. And they also use it for the fields. They put it on the fields because it points is the rose of the, how do you call that? I don't remember. Sorry.
But it shows how much you're connected with Mexican cultures.
Yes.
I'm using plural because it's much more than one part of Mexican culture. It draws from different parts of the country, and it also leads the way to the future. You're using the hoja de Dios to protect, in a way, the traditions that you brought from Mexico. Now, for the future, you've already mentioned that you're growing, that there's a certain momentum that is picking up when it comes to Mexican food here in Belgium, Holland, and Europe in general.
Yes.
Where do you see things evolving?
With the company or in general? With the,
both?
well, I think the trend is just starting. You can see it you can see it with all the people that wants to do something with a taco or wants to do something with the mole, or I think it's starting. I think people starting to know more our gastronomy, and also that we are not only tacos. Other people are starting experimenting with the corn, also doing some other things. I think it's gonna be a trend that's coming to stay for a long while, and so our company, I want to grow slowly and steady, because I don't want to give such a big step that I'm gonna lose the overview of what we are doing, and we are going to lose probably the essence of our company, and we want to remain a Mexican traditional company that's going to show what Mexican food is to the other people, and try to educate, and also try to give back to our communities in Mexico. I think that's where I would like to go, and I don't want to go to big supermarkets and that sort of things, more delicatessen stores. And we have to scale up our lines. We have to scale up the line of the totopas, which is becoming very popular. We have to scale up the line from the tostadas, which are also now really popular. And definitely we have to scale up the capacity, which is already being a challenge. On the way, I've met a lot of people that have helped me professionalize the company also. Because, of course, when I started, I didn't know it was going to grow so fast. And I thought some things can be done on the way, but nothing can be done on the way. So I just had to search for the right people that could help me doing it in a professional way. It's not longer a small company. So just little by little, and we will see where we can go. Right now, for example, we started cooking 50 kilograms of corn. Right now we do 220 kilograms of corn per day. So that's a little bit more than a ton, and I didn't imagine that we could get there so fast. But as long as I can do tortillas the same way, and it's not gonna lose quality, then I want to get there. So maybe we can double the number for next year.
Hopefully.
Yes.
That would be great. I would love it to see more Mexican cuisine everywhere, easily available.
Yes.
Done the right way. If people want to know more about what to do with tortillas, how to do it, where can they find more information?
You mean in terms of recipes, or more like...
Recipes, the thing you just explained me, how to warm a tortilla.
That
also really important. We
Yes.
didn't mention this, but you should put your tortilla in a tortilla warmer after you've heated up.
Like the one you have.
I received one from you, but I put it on
okay.
the side.
Yes.
But you can use a
tablecloth.
a towel.
Yes.
You can use the tortilla warmer.
Yes.
You can use even a
Aluminum.
little pot with a lid.
Aluminum foil.
Exactly. So
Yes.
there's lots of ways to keep it warm, because, as you said, when it cools down, it's not that tasty.
No.
But-
it will be tasty, but the consistency will not be nice.
Exactly. So
Yes.
you've had all these tips that you shared here. Can we find that on like your social media? Are
Yes.
you inspiring people with recipes, showing how to make them, that sort of stuff?
We
or-
have a few recipes on our website. We are not there yet with all the recipes as much as we would like. We share a lot of the recipes our clients do, because we have a lot of foodies experimenting now with the product, but you can find it on our Instagram, and you can find. Always when you buy the tortillas, we send like a little flyer to show how you have to warm up our tortilla and how you have to manage the product. Because, for example, this is a product that needs to go on the fridge, and normally people will put the wraps on the cupboard, and then next time it has a mushroom there included. So,
and not the kind you want.
No. So yeah. We try to do that on the part of the education, but you can find a lot on our Instagram and our website. Yes.
All right, just to make it clear for everyone, the website is
Taiyari.nl.
There we go.
.nl. Yes.
Super easy.
Super easy.
All right, Karla, thank you so much for being in the podcast.
No, thank you for inviting me.
I'm really happy to have you here as a guest. It's September right now.
Yes.
The podcast is coming out, which is also something people don't know, but September is the Mes Patria.
Yes.
The
Independence Day.
The Independence Day is in September. A lot of people think it is May 5th, which is wrong. So if there's an extra reason to celebrate, it's definitely this month. So I would say people that can give it a shot, they should go to the website, order some tortillas, and celebrate the tostadas or totopos or anything else that's on your website, basically. You can do it with Westland peppers, you can do it Chinstoko and all the other places you've mentioned.
Yes.
Give it a shot, because this is the month to give it a shot. It's the 17th of September, the national holiday of Mexico. So
15.
Let's celebrate accordingly.
15,
sorry. I'm so wrong.
No, it's okay.
So wrong.
15. Yes.
Ay. Me as a so-called Mexico connoisseur just fucked up big time.
It can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
15.
But that's the way to celebrate. Make yourself some tacos, enchiladas, anything you want, really.
Yeah, and any question you have, you can just send it via Insta or any of our other channels, our website, or we are also LinkedIn, and you can just ask whatever question.
Any way you want to be contacted, people will find you. That's good news.
I'm happy for that. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Really appreciate it. Yes. And let's finish with some mezcal and celebrate.
Yeah, I see the collection. Let's just do that. It's already 12. No, it's already 1.
Yeah, see.
Okay.
Bedankt om te luisteren naar Overeten. Vond je het een leuke aflevering? Deel deze podcast dan zeker met andere foodies. Tag me gerust op Facebook of Instagram via @overetenpodcast. Honger naar meer? Dat is mijn maandelijkse nieuwsbrief vol eet, drink en luisterplezier. Schrijf je in via de website, dat is www.overetenpodcast.be. Bedankt en hopelijk tot binnenkort.